Hey folks, it's Kat. Now I wanted to try going live for the first time on this channel. Say hi, Owen. Yeah. Uh, but apparently it takes like 24. Like I should have known this because obviously I have another channel, but that is a Minecraft channel. So if you're into Minecraft, go check that out. The link is at the top of my page. But anyway, I digress. I wanted to try going live because we are going to Alton Towers on Friday. I think there's a bird or something down there. I get easily distracted, you can tell. We are going to Alton Towers on Friday, so me and my husband are going to have to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, bung the kids in the car. We're getting them dressed before they go to bed, so we don't have to deal with that. Stick them in the car, hopefully go back to sleep, probably won't. And it's a 5-hour drive down there. Now, last time I did this, only I could drive, so obviously I had to drive all the way there and all the way back. And my husband casually decided to fall asleep on the way back, despite, you know, he's meant to be my wingman, yada yada yada. But anyway, it is what it is. I wasn't that salty about it. Right, so I wanted to try doing the thing, but obviously that's not happening. Hi baby. She is awake, she's just being shy. So hopefully we'll have a lot of videos and reviews coming up from the Alton Towers trip. We are going to be there for Mardi Gras. Now obviously this has nothing to do with New Orleans, it is like New Orleans themed, and we have never been there during Mardi Gras before. We've never been there during one of their major events before, so that's going to be interesting to find out how that's going to go. Now, we have looked at other videos. I think it's theme park reviews. I follow them on YouTube on my other channel. We've been watching a lot of their videos because apparently it's a couple. They live in Ayr, which is where Alton Towers is situated. Sort of Ayr, Stoke-on-Trent down in England. You can Google it. So that's where we're going. If you want to Google it, Alton Towers. That's where we're going. We're currently having a walk up the estate at the minute. My son is off school sick. He says he's sick. That is a debate for another day. He was sick, don't get me wrong, he was sick, but I think he's just faking it at the minute to get out of going to school, so he will be going back tomorrow. Oof, it's a carp. This is like a public path, but there are farms and there's a private estate up there. Bit dusty, not gonna lie. So yes, we're gonna be there from, well, I'm not gonna say exactly when because security reasons, but we will be reviewing the room. Hopefully we get the accessible room, given the fact that obviously we do have 3 kids with additional support needs. We will have a disabled buggy with us, and I'm pretty sure the accessible room has the wet room as well, which would be absolutely banging for Nathan. I mean, me personally, I don't like having wet feet. I'm not much of a fan of wet rooms, but they are a necessity when you are a parent of bigger kids or adults with additional support needs. You're going to say hi. Hello. Such as this one. Now, we had this one speech and language appointment the other week, and I went in there with a pessimistic view, given the sort of conversation I had with the other speech and language therapist. If you want to know more about that, go back and watch one of my walk and talk videos. Which one I cannot remember because the brain is mush. So I did not hold out much hope for the speech and language. Obviously I am a trained nursery teacher, I have worked with kids, I also have 2 older children with autism. When I say she is autistic, it's not because I don't know what I'm talking about, or because she's, like, you know, done this one time and that's what I'm basing it on. I do have, you know, some idea of what I'm talking about, and thankfully, given the fact that our paediatrician has been with the family since Nathan, who is now 9, was 14 months old, She trusts my judgment. She has not yet met Eowyn. We have discussed her on the phone during one of Nathan's phone call appointments, because they're still doing all that thing with COVID and whatnot. She doesn't need to see Nathan in person anymore. She knows him, she's met him, she's assessed him, yada yada yada. The whole thing with his diagnosis, CAMS, now they did apologise for this profusely, and we weren't in no hurry for the diagnosis, so it was no skin off our nose, although I can understand if someone else was in the same position. She's looking at the birds. Hi! Why they would be upset. So, pre-COVID, Nathan was being assessed by CAMS for what is now called intellectual disability. It used to be learning disabled, it's now intellectual disability. You know how these things chop and change all the time, given the nature of the English language. So during that whole thing, and our in-person reviews of him and their phone call reviews of him, he was formally diagnosed with an intellectual disability. Now, when the psychologist asked me, did I think he was intellectually disabled? Right, I have many skills, as I said, nursery teacher, life experience with kids with autism, etc, etc. But I was not competent, and still am not competent, in being able to assess whether or not my own child, despite the fact that I know they have additional support needs, they're clearly developmentally delayed, significantly developmentally delayed. Well, 2 out of 3 of them are, but anyway. On what level that then warrants an intellectual disability diagnosis was not for me to say, because I do not have the capacity to understand at what level it then becomes, you know, to such an extent that it warrants the diagnosis. But from what she explained of it to me, Nathan's any child's development in early years goes from like 0 to like very fast, and then it sort of plateaus as they get older. Now, someone with an intellectual disability, it still has that high trajectory to start off with, but then it plateaus earlier, and it's the same with everybody. We all sort of stay on that level. It's not that we can't learn new things, because obviously everybody has the capacity to keep learning new things. It's just everybody's capacity has a certain extent, and he has reached his. At 9 years of age, his capacity for learning has, usually that wouldn't happen until, I want to say, I'm not really clued up on obviously older kids and their ability to absorb the knowledge, but I want to say like high school, early 20s, etc. So at 9 years old, he's already plateaued, and that's him. He will be able to learn new things, but not nearly at the extent of his peers, and that's where the intellectual disability diagnosis comes in. It makes no difference to us at the moment. It makes no difference to Nathan's life, what help he will receive, what resources he can access. He is already getting all the support and resources that are appropriate for his needs, which is why we neither cared nor were in a hurry for a diagnosis. I can understand if your child is struggling a lot. There's a pheasant over there, guys. I can understand if your child is struggling a lot and you're then desperate for a diagnosis, because you know that having this diagnosis will open access to these resources and these provisions and this sort of help, etc, etc, whether that's financial, practical or otherwise. I completely understand that. Some professionals do not and take the view of parents wanting a diagnosis for their child as suspect. And I also understand that, because unfortunately in life there are people out there that will abuse the system, and unfortunately it doesn't matter how you think the world is or how depraved you think people could get, or lack of deprivation you think they could have. Horrible, horrible, horrible things have happened in the world and will continue to do so, and people will take advantage of children for their own benefit, unfortunately, and that is what professionals need to try and prevent. Right, I'm going to try and show you this pheasant, guys. Hold on. You see it over there? See if I can stand my stick. You're just sitting about. He's just chilling. Right, so anyway, unfortunately there are people out there that will use children for their own benefit. I do not need to go into details. If you're an adult watching this, no children should be watching this anyway, except for not for kids. You will understand what I am referring to, whether it's because they want attention, it's a case of Munchausen's by proxy, or something along those lines, or something more depraved. Unfortunately, that is the world we live in, and professionals need to be aware of that. As a nursery teacher, we had to take any signs of abuse seriously, and we legally had responsibility to refer it on, despite our personal opinion. If we knew, or if we felt, sorry, not that if we knew, if we felt that a child came in and had an injury in a specific place, and I'm not going to say which specific place because that information can be dangerous. Other practitioners will know where the danger sites are for injuries. Sorry guys, there's another bird there. It's like half nature, half vlog. There we go. So if we had a kid come in with an injury in a specific area and there was a recurrence and it was becoming concerning, even if we felt and accepted the parents or families or carers' explanation of why that was there and what was going on, we still need to report that legally. We have to. We could lose our jobs, etc. There's also some sheep. So it's not a case that we don't want to support the family as best we can. It's not a case that we are trying to be vindictive. We're legally obligated to do so, as is any nursery practitioner in Scotland. They are legally required to do this, and probably England has the same sort of laws down there. Hello baby. There's horses over there, but I'll show you guys those on the way back. So it is what it is. Professionals need to be professionals. So even if our paediatrician saw something suspect, despite the fact that she has been with us for 7.5 years, knows all my family, knows the kids, knows what we've done, told her everything, she would then still be obligated to report us if she saw anything suspect. And obviously, having worked with kids in a professional capacity, I would not hold that against her. I understand if anybody thinks my kid's at risk, they are welcome to report us and have us checked out. It has happened before. My old school teacher, I'm not going to say who or which one or blah blah blah, one of the school teachers, we were having Nathan assessed for SDS, which is self-directed support by social services, which is like child protection, yada yada. We were having Nathan assessed by them. We requested this. I'm just going to turn around and start walking back. We requested to have this done. So the social worker came out, talked to us, reviewed the house, reviews Nathan's needs. We've had this done twice so far. We have not taken the package of support that was offered, but that's an entirely different story altogether. I won't get into it as to why right now, because this video is long enough. So yes, he was offered a package of support. We chose not to take it. That was on us. He was entitled to it, blah 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 blah, but we chose not to take it at the time or the next time. But this social worker came to one of Nathan's multi-agency meetings, which is a meeting between the school and the rest of Nathan's professionals. So is school teachers, speech and language therapists, paediatrician, health visitor. I think she was there because I think this was when he was still in nursery. He was still thingy to a health visitor. So the social worker decided to come to one of those to get a better grasp of his needs for the report, which is fine. Come along, got nothing to hide, enjoy yourself. Oh, it's a car coming, guys. So she came along to this multi-agency meeting with us, and one of the teachers there, while we were having this meeting, then at the end turned to her and goes, "So are you staying on with the family after your report is finished?" Insinuating that there were concerns. Now, I understand why there were concerns, because at the time Nathan was diagnosed, his needs were being met. Isabel, on the other hand, was 6 years old, had horrible anxiety, and began fainting at school. So back then I was not a nursery teacher. I didn't know what I was doing. You know, Nathan was freshly diagnosed in nursery, blah 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 blah. We were about a year in to the whole autism thing, and we didn't know anything about it back then. So back then, like, I brought up the concerns with the paediatrician about Isabel to the paediatrician. She's like, "I want to see her," so I got referred. She accepted the referral. Now the paediatrician did not assess my oldest. She was, her needs were not severe enough to warrant a direct diagnosis by the paediatrician, which they can do if the child has extensive needs, which she does not. She does have obviously other needs, which we do meet, but clearly everybody that is autistic is on different, you know, levels, different journeys, different blah blah blah. I'm not going to go into the whole my disabled kid's more disabled than your disabled kid, because that debate just drives me nuts. Like, it's not a competition, guys, you know, we're not trying to win any points here. This is our children we are talking about. But anyway, so she was also referred to the hospital because she kept fainting and she had horrible anxiety and etc etc. So obviously I can see where the red flags are coming from. Turns out that she has a condition called vasovagal syncope, which means hers are triggered by pain. If she is in pain, she has a chance that she will just drop. She will faint. Her ass is hitting the floor. Recovery position, a couple of minutes later she's up, give her a snack, she's fine, right? If she does not get up in a couple of minutes, you phone an ambulance and you phone us, and you know, that's a whole, but that has never happened. Thankfully, the last time she fainted was at our wedding in January 2020, and she hasn't fainted since, so fingers crossed. So, hey baby. So she was fainting, horrible anxiety. She couldn't act being angry because she said she'd never felt angry before, which now makes sense, did not make sense back then. Myself and her dad did not think that she was autistic whatsoever. I just thought she was really, really anxious. She was a really anxious child, which is a red flag, because obviously anxious children, it can be a sign of abuse. So I understand why the teacher made the comments back then. I was so angry, guys. I was so mad. I was like, knowing what I know now, I get it, I understand, you're just doing your job, but back then I was so mad, because who are you to insinuate that I am a bad parent? Blah blah blah, got the ego going and everything, blah. I didn't say that. I'm not a confrontational person. People can slag me off, doesn't affect me at all, don't care about it. Come for my kids, however, that's a different matter. Anyway, so I can understand why they did it, but we didn't think she was autistic. I was like 90% sure she was not autistic. I just thought, she's just anxious. She's just anxious. And I even told the psychologist that did assess her, because we had to go to a whole other hospital. The assessment was like a couple hours long. They did these tests at the table, and etc, etc. Obviously, they've all had to have audiology assessments, because despite the fact I'm not wearing my hearing aids, I have bilateral degenerative deafness. My hearing sucks, will continue to suck, and will get more sucky with age. But anyway, that's not about me. So, they've all had audiology assessments to make sure that the younger two language concerns were not due to a genetic deaf issue. But my hearing loss is not genetic, it is a result of my birth, which I won't go into right now. So she did all the tests, and then the psychologist came out and said, yep, she's autistic. And I'm like, eh. And it wasn't until they explained to me that, like, she's masking. This is where anxiety is coming from. And all these other things that, as soon as she'd said them, like, the light bulb went off on my head, going, that is exactly her. That is, like, she'd hit the nail on the head. She explained it perfectly. And I'm not one that takes explanations properly, because I've got dyslexia. But like, the way she explained it, it's like, that's Izzy. That's Izzy. Like, she'd known her whole life. Selective mutism. When she was a toddler, we just thought she was really shy and quiet, like this one. But that's not what it was. It's selective mutism. She still has to this day. If she gets emotional and upset, she physically cannot speak. It doesn't matter who prompts her. She has aids to help deal with that. Like, she's got a set of fans that have emotions on it, and we're like, right, just take some time, and when you are able to talk about it, then we will discuss what is going on. So that's what was happening. But honestly, we didn't think she was autistic, and like, my heart breaks, because she didn't get diagnosed until she was 6, and she was having all these issues in school. She was so anxious, she was so shy, and it wasn't until she got a diagnosis and we figured out how to help her that she started coming out of her shell, and now she won't shut up. She does not shut up. She will not shut up. Like, you can't laugh about it now. I mean, Nathan didn't speak until he was 4, and now he does not shut up either, and we're hoping the same for this one, but if she never speaks a word, doesn't matter, you know, we love her all the same. Hey, Trouble, where you going? Eowyn, Eowyn, you are not asleep. She's shy, but she's not asleep. Where are you? Hi. I see you. Hi. And the reason on my shorts and on my other videos, as I refer to this one, is autistic. It's because she is. I 100% know that she is. And she has had the audiology. We've had our first speech and language assessment. Hopefully she will get into nursery when she's 2. Our government, our council, our local area council, are cutting funding for lots of things, including what is a good time to be 2 thing, which she would be eligible for given her additional support needs. But someone else that I know whose child is just over 2 and applied for it under the same conditions because they've got additional support needs, was refused due to the funding cuts. So it's either going to be a case of she needs to be assessed in a professional setting. I want her in a professional setting because I know the benefits that being in a social setting like a nursery, kindergarten or whatever you call it, can have on a child, socially, emotionally, cognitively, all that jazz. Plus it helps with the diagnostic process because professionals go to that setting and assess her. They assess her at home in, a home setting, and then at a formal setting, at an educational setting. So, and obviously they can see the difference between the two. So I want her in a setting. I don't want her in a setting. I want her to be with. She's my last one. I want her to be with me as long as possible. But it is better for her to be in the social setting, and I know that when that time comes, if she does get a placement there, which we will fight tooth and nail for her to receive, or if we have to pay for it, we will do that. I'm going to be bawling my eyes out. I am going to be crying so much. So much. Now, it's going to be so weird. But anyway, if any of you guys have got youngest kids and you're not having any more, you might understand what I'm going through. She's my last baby. Physically it's not a good idea for me to have anymore. Financially it's really not a good idea for me to have anymore. We're currently needing a 4-bedroom house at the moment. We're in a 3-bedroom, so she's still in the room with us. She still sleeps in a cot. Obviously she's 18 months old, she can't still sleep in a cot. But she's still in her cot because she is a safety concern, as was her brother. He was in with us until he was 2, and even then when he went into the room to share with his older sister, he did not get an actual bed till he was 3. And then it's safety gates and all the other stuff with a child with additional support needs that doesn't understand safety issues, etc. So we've got all that to look forward to. But yes, going to Alton Towers on Friday. I will maybe try and do a short live in the morning before we leave. As I said, it will be very, very early. It'll be 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when we go. Hopefully the traffic is quiet because we'll be going down the west coast of Scotland, and then obviously the west coast of everywhere else until we get to sort of Stoke-on-Trent, and then the little windy roads from Stoke-on-Trent to Alton Towers are scary. There's a 60-mile-an-hour limit. Don't know what that is in kilometres, but it's a 60-mile-an-hour limit, and I'm usually going about 20 or 30 on them because these are farm, windy country roads, and I understand why the locals would be pissed off. Sorry about that. I understand why the locals would be peed off because obviously tourists, technically I'm in a different country, although it is the UK. Tourists and whatnot and people that aren't regularly there do tend to go slower on those roads, and they're just whizzing round them we know what we're doing, hurry up, basically. There's lots of blind turns, and yeah, I am not risking my kids' lives because you can't wait. unfortunately. No, that's not him. Although I think my husband's driving that part, so. Anyway, so yes, it has been fun. Oh my god, it has been half an hour of me doing this. Wow. Like, I think my hand's starting to like fall off a little bit, but anyway. Here you in. Hi, baby. You gonna say bye-bye? It is pretty warm in Scotland today. I don't know if you guys can see the clouds. Like, when I first came out, like, I asked my husband, like, is it warm outside? He's like, yeah. We get outside, it's like wind. Looked like really cloudy. I'm like, he said this was warm. But yes, I can understand why he thinks so, because I am roasting now, thankfully. Just in t-shirts, enjoy the bingo wings, and yes, that's us. So please stay tuned for our Alton Towers clips. Obviously this will be based on a family of 5 sharing a room and, you know, 3 kids with additional support needs, how we're going to get on with that. I don't know, I might do, if you guys have got any questions about tickets and whatnot, obviously we do get carers passes because of Isabel and Nathan. Obviously this one's too young, she's still like, I can't remember if we pay for her or not yet because small. But yeah, if you got any questions about carers passes, queue skipper passes, all that sort of thing, we have been to Alton Towers a few times before, so I do have that knowledge, and if I can share it with you, I will. If you're in the UK, or if you're planning to come to the UK just to go to Alton Towers or as part of your journey. So let me know if there is anything that you would like information on specifically. Do you want to see inside the toilet? I don't know. But yeah, it's been fun. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you next time. Oh, please remember to like and subscribe if you're new. And if you've got kids with autism, or you're looking after kids with autism, or you're a foster parent or adoptive parent or any other sort of parent or carer of children with autism or adults with autism, you're awesome. Never forget it. Keep doing what you're doing. Right, catch you later.